Welcome to Wednesday, all you students of the gun. Yes, we are back. We are in the Glass Case of Emotion Studios, and we're ready to do another show for you, and you're welcome. You're welcome. If you're new to the show, congratulations on your excellent decision-making skills, or at least making this one good decision. Sit down, close your mouth, open both of your ears, and listen louder. On the other side of the glass case of emotion, on the outside, because there can be only one inside of the glass case, and that is me. But on the outside is Jared. He is the co-host, he is the producer, he is the digital mastermind, and he actually got just a little bit of airtime nationwide on Gun Talk this weekend, didn't you, Jared?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. But it was funny because when we sat down, I obviously knew that I wasn't the host of the show, but I was still nervous. It was weird. You're
still nervous to be live?
I don't ever get nervous.
Well, because it was somebody else's show.
Yeah.
And you know, what's funny is, I was thinking about that as we were doing yesterday's show. As we were in our studio, I was talking into my microphone, but it was different. It seemed different. Well, part of the reason it seemed different is because I had a remote engineer, a remote producer in another studio in Ohio, yelling into my ear saying, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. That one's for you, Jim. Yeah, that's the thing about live radio is you have what they call, you have floating breaks that you can take when you feel like it, and then they have hard breaks that you have no option. You have to close your mouth because the affiliates are going to start doing news or whatever and commercials, and so you have to shut your mouth. And so I'm not used to having people tell me to be quiet because, well, I talk when I want to talk. And
it was funny. I think that, you know how usually the floating breaks, I'm sure that the host usually chooses when he wants to break.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you forgot about them because they were like, okay, let's break now. And because you're used to just talking for 45 minutes straight. So you talk for 10 minutes and you're like, I still have another 30 minutes to talk.
Yeah, I got stuff to talk about. You take your break whenever.
Yeah.
Doing live radio, it wasn't the first time I'd done it, but I don't do it a lot. I don't do it often. And live radio, people are like, well, it's easier and it's harder at the same time. Or it's funny because when we do what we do, when you're listening to the show, this is how it works, folks. We go into the studio, we start recording, we do the show, beginning to end, and then Jared sends it out to you. That's what happens. Or Zach sends it out to you.
It's interesting. Some of our friends that do the podcasting, they're like, oh, how do you edit your show? I'm like, I don't. We sit down, we talk.
We do it right the first time, and then we move on.
And then I've got some friends who are like, well, I got to spend like 4 or 5 hours editing. I'm like, I don't want to do that. We spend 1 hour.
If we had to spend 4 or 5 hours editing each day's show, that would be, well, we wouldn't be doing each day's show.
Yeah.
Of course, the big question mark is anytime you invite in a guest. You know, you invite a guest onto the show, you bring somebody in, and you have to, you got to trust the person you're bringing on because they may just go flat on you.
Yeah.
Or you ask them a question, they say, yes. Like, all right, would you care to elaborate on that? But we had a good time this weekend, and I was very, very grateful, and I'm sure you guys were as well, to be able to get my friend Mike Detty, author of Operation Wide Receiver, and that book is available right now on Amazon. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. If you are an American patriot and you believe that it is a responsibility of every American citizen to keep an eye on the American government and what they're doing, it's not supposed to be the opposite. The government's not supposed to be keeping an eye on you to make sure you're a well-behaved tax slave. It's actually the opposite. You need to do yourself a favor and pick up a copy of that book. Go to Amazon, type in Mike Detty, Detty, or Operation Wide Receiver, and avail yourself to that book. You need to read that. You need to get that information in there in your brain housing group so you know the truth. not what you're being force-fed by the Communist News Network. Now, today is Wednesday, and as you know, if you're a hip cat, if you're a student of the gun, you know that it is SWAT Fuel Fitness Talk Day. But before we get into that, you know what, Jared? I wanted to throw this out there because I know that we have lots of women that listen to us. But I've got a question for you ladies out there. Why don't you ever call? You're allowed. This isn't 1922 or 21 or 1919, You can call. You're allowed. I know you have a phone because that's how you play Candy Crush. But we didn't get any female callers this weekend on Gun Talk. And the call screener, her name's Michelle. And if you listen to the after show, she goes, "Oh, yeah, women call all the time." So how come they don't make it to the air? So, I answer their questions for them. Okay, well, there you go. But the Warrior of the Week line is open 24/7, and you can call. And have we had a woman call in to be the Warrior of the Week?
We've had some call, but the questions were either too long or not. They were too narrow.
Oh, okay.
The way we pick, I don't know if you guys know this, but you're about to. The way we pick the Warrior of the Week is it's got to be a general topic that's not too specific because it needs to apply to everybody that listens.
If you say, "How do I get my concealed carry permit in Maine?" that really doesn't help the entire audience.
www.maine.gov.
Yeah, when we choose the Warrior of the Week question, we try it and pick a question that will help everybody or at least help the majority of the audience. But ladies, call in. This is your invitation. You are allowed. I will let you. You're welcome. Jared, tell them about our sponsor, our featured sponsor of the week.
The featured sponsor of the week. Speaking of calling in and stuff, Century Arms is our featured sponsor, and they sponsor the mobile app as well as the radio show. If you want to call into the Warrior of the Week line, you can go download the mobile app from the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store. Click on the little Call Us tab, and there's two lines there. Click on Warrior of the Week. That'll send you to the line where we actually play the questions on the radio show. And that is all thanks to Century Arms. If you guys could do us a favor, go to studentofthegunradio.com, click on the show notes for episode 264. Go down there. There's links to Century Arms' Facebook page and also their website, so you can contact them and let them know. Say thank you for supporting Student of the Gun, because they know we appreciate it, and we want them to know you appreciate it too.
Well, speaking of women, one of our favorite women, Lauren Hudson, just posted in the I think it's a grad program section a story out of Kansas. Apparently, Emily, let me take a look at it. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Grab it and drop it into the show notes real quick.
Okay, I will do that,
and we'll talk about it. Oh, my Lord in heaven. This is something that we need to continuously talk about. But, when I get to that point, and we've said it before, but what the heck, where I think to myself, do I really need to make this point again? Do I need to keep making this point? Or does everybody get it by now? Sure, certainly everyone gets it, and we can stop talking about this subject. But apparently the answer is no. So we're going to talk about a negligent discharge that just happened in Kansas City. But before we do that, it is Wednesday, and it is SWAT Fuel Fitness Talk Day. And that means you're going to get to groove just a little bit with our friend King Julian.
Fantastic, big body ocean at the big Titanic, woman and nice, sweet, energetic, big body ocean at the big Titanic, woman and nice, sweet, fantastic, big body ocean at the big Titanic, woman and nice.
I want to take a second today to talk about plateaus. Everybody hits a plateau. I've hit plateaus before. And how do you overcome those plateaus? You need to change something in your workout. That's how you overcome the plateaus. You need to maybe push yourself a little bit harder, change an exercise. Strength is not built by doing what you're good at. Strength is built by overcoming what you are not good at. So you need to think about that when you're doing your workouts. I read a meme the other day. It's probably on my Instagram page at PT Jared. And it said something, man, I'm trying to think exactly what it said. It said, your life begins at the end of your comfort zone. That's what it was. And I like that. It's pretty good. Nothing good ever comes from a comfort zone. You need to break that barrier, get out of the comfort zone, and that will help you overcome the plateaus. The way that specifically that I try to not even hit a plateau anymore is I switch something small every workout, and then I switch something major about every 3 to 4 weeks. I've tested this with my body. I know my time frame, and generally for everybody it'll be anywhere between 3 and 4 weeks. So try that. Try switching up something major, doing a different exercise, something like that, every 3 to 4 weeks, and you will overcome that plateau. How about, have you hit plateaus lately?
Oh, absolutely. Well, one of the ways, when we talked about that, one of the ways I did is, a year or so ago when I decided I was going to shed some poundage. And
you said poundage.
And I got stuck. And it seemed like it didn't matter what I did. And well, that was right when almost 2 years ago, but we started working with Dr. Dan and SWAT Fuel.
Yeah.
And I started using the SWAT Fuel regular 9mm, and I'm doing more running, doing more aerobic exercise, I guess you could say, cardio exercise.
Running should just be part of your life. It should be something that you get up in the morning and you do.
But I hate running.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing, it's discipline.
Yep.
I hate running.
I don't know anybody that actually likes it.
There are people out there on the planet that do like to run.
What they're smoking, because
I don't like it. I have run all over the world. I've run on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier in the Indian Ocean. I've run in the jungle. I've run in the desert. I've run in the mountains. I've run in the swamps of North Carolina and South Carolina. I've run everywhere. I haven't run in the Arctic. Okay, you got me. But pretty much everywhere else, I have run. And I don't like running.
Did you run so far away?
I ran so far away, and then I came back. But I do it. I was actually in the gym the other day, and I was on the treadmill, and I was thinking to myself, I really don't want to do this, but I need to do it.
But once you start, you're like, and then when you're done, you're like, man, I'm glad I did that. That's how it always works. If you don't want to do something, you need to do that.
Exactly. When you don't feel like working out, that is exactly when you need to. It's called disciplining your body. Anybody can go sit on the couch. That's easy.
I don't care how tired you are. If you can do it when you're tired, you can do it when you're fresh.
That's right.
If it's at the end of the day and you haven't went to the gym, I don't know, take 20 minutes, do a body weight exercise, squats,
do something,
push-ups, something.
Do something to be active. That's what you need to and we're not telling you have to be an athlete. It's like, well, I'm older now, so I'm beyond that. No, you're not. Don't get sedentary. And quite frankly, a lot of people when they get older, especially as they retire, they just give up because they lose their drive, they lose purpose. Don't be like that. Don't be that person. Don't lose your drive. Don't lose your purpose in life. So there you go.
Yeah, I want to say congrats to Joel Foran. He's been posting pictures on the Combat Culinary page, and he's lost, I think it said he's up to 105 pounds total.
Rock on.
That's great. I'm sure he's hit plenty of plateaus that he had to overcome, and I'm sure it's a great feeling for him. Now, what I want you guys to do is I need your help picking out these people because I'm actually at the end of my list that I've seen. So what I want you to do is go to either facebook.com/PTJared or Instagram.com/PTJared. Find me on Facebook or Instagram. Tag somebody that you know that has had an incredible journey with weight loss or fitness. Do that. And thank you.
And you're welcome. All right. Well, thank you to SWAT Fuel for sponsoring the SWAT Fuel Fitness Talk each and every week. And you know what? What you need to do is you need to encourage each other. Is that not true, Jared?
Yes.
That's why we're here. We're not here to judge, because this is a judgment-free zone. No, seriously, but you need to encourage each other, and that is why we're here. Century Arms, obviously, is the featured sponsor of the week. And like I told you, hippies, if you guys want to get an AK, now is the time. Don't wait until December or January. I'm telling you. Crossbreed holsters. I am wearing right now the Caitlyn Jenner commemorative, also known as the Super Tuck, as I sit in the glass case of emotion. Frog Lube, it just works. It's green, it's minty fresh, and it works. And as you listen to the sound of my voice, Frog Lube is going to be releasing very soon, if not already, the Frog Lube Extreme version, Extreme Climate, from really cold to really hot. So look for that at brownells.com. All right, we've got, this is hot off of the presses right here. ND in movie theater. What? There's lots of lessons learned right here. And this story is from October 19th, 2015. Let me see. Man injured after his handgun goes off in Kansas movie theater. The gun just went off? It was sitting there, apparently bored, and the gun said, I think I will go off now. Is that exactly how it happened? Well, let's see. Salina, Kansas, or Salina, depending on where you are in the world. A Salina movie theater was evacuated after a man apparently shot himself in the leg with his concealed handgun. The Salina Journal reports the theater was evacuated Friday after the handgun went off in the man's pocket, hitting him in the upper leg. Tim Coleman says he was sitting nearby when he heard a pop, smelled gunpowder, and the man said, "Oh my God, I shot myself." Well, so much for the alleged or apparently. Coleman, an Army mechanic, now with the Kansas National Guard, said he first checked to make sure his 14-year-old daughter and her friend were safe. He says people evacuated calmly and several called 911. Coleman, this is the Army mechanic, awesome, fixed a tourniquet to stop the bleeding, the man's bleeding, and made sure the weapon was secured. The police say the incident remains under investigation. The condition of the victim, the man, is unclear at Dateline. So, step number 1. How do guns go off in your pocket?
You put other stuff in there.
There is this thing, a gun, and if you've seen a gun, if you've seen a handgun, there's like a curvy like thingy that you put your finger on. It could be straight. Or it could be Metro. But it's a thingy that you put your finger on, and when you press it back, the gun tends to make noise. A lot of times it goes pow or pop.
And you probably smell gunpowder.
And you smell gunpowder. So here's the dealio. The gun wants to go off. That's its job. It's designed to go bang. It wants to go bang. It's supposed to go bang. The way to stop it from going bang is to keep anything, including your digits, away from the curvy thing until you purposely want it to make noise. Now, I know, you're like, hold on, Paul, you lost me there. I know, I got to break it down really slow and simple for you guys. Step number 1, if you are listening to the sound of my voice right now, and you're still carrying a gun naked in a pocket, whether it's a pants pocket, a jacket pocket, whether you're throwing guns naked into your purse or a pack or whatever, you are wrong. Stop doing that. You are begging for a negligent discharge. And did you notice that they didn't use the word accident or negligent in this story, Jared?
Yeah.
From Fox4KC.com.
I don't think they really understand the difference.
Yeah, well, but bless their hearts for not saying accidentally went off. They just said it went off.
Yeah.
The gun was sitting there and pow! Holy crap, how did that happen? Now, have there been incidents where a person didn't put their booger hook on the trigger and it still went off? Yes. There are people who put guns in their pockets with car keys or lipsticks or whatever.
I hope this dude didn't have lipstick in his pocket.
Well, hey, he could be He could be like one of those guys from the Huffington Post. Don't judge.
Yeah.
He could be an LGBT MOUSE XYZ. You don't know. Don't try to assign
I
a
would
gender.
assume he'd put it in his purse then.
Don't assign a gender identity to him. But my point is this. Number one, if you want to pocket carry, rock on. I pocket carry. Actually, I may or may not be pocket carrying right now at this moment. But guess what? My gun is not sitting naked in a pocket. Now, the company that makes, and they don't sponsor my show because bless their hearts, I don't know why, but I'm just going to tell you anyway. The company that makes the absolute best pocket holsters, pocket scabbards, whatever you want to call them, in the USA is Tough Products, Tuff. The Pocket Roo. I'm telling you, I've been using these products for going on 1, 2, 3, 4, at least for going on. I guess I was introduced to them around 2010, 2011. Regardless, the fact is these dudes, they make the best pocket holsters. And are they a little bit more expensive than those cheap pieces of crap that are made out of suede leather, or those cheap pieces of crap that are made out of nylon that fold over? Yes, they are. And are you going to spend $3 or $4 more for it? Yeah. You know what? Get a crowbar out and pry open your wallet and spend the extra $2, you cheap son of a gun. I've never been able to figure that out, Jared. People that they're like, I carry a gun for self-defense. I carry a gun to protect my life and the life of my family. But I'm not spending $15 on a pocket holster. I'm going to go buy this cheap piece of crap one for $9. Really? That's what your life is worth? Your life isn't worth the extra $4? Yeah, I'm talking to you, and I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings. But if you're carrying one of those cheap piece of crap holsters that like folds over, or you know, and that's another thing. You got to be careful. When the holsters get worn and they get old, they will fold or flap or what have you, and that endangers that could allow something to get in the trigger. Number one, stop carrying guns naked in your pockets. Number two, don't fiddle fart around with your guns. And it doesn't say whether the dude had his finger in his pocket. I don't know. We don't know that. Don't fiddle fart around with your guns in public. Secure them to your body and leave them alone. Get a good holster, whatever that holster happens to be. Secure it to your body and quit touching it. Okay. Number two, go freaking team moment to this dude, this Army mechanic dude, for tourniqueting this guy's leg. RTFO. Now, question to you hippies. If you would have been in the theater, would you have had the equipment? Would you have had something on you to take care of this? And you're like, I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But a lot of learning points from this Kansas movie theater incident here. Number one, don't put naked guns in your pockets. Number two, don't fiddle fart around with your guns in public. Secure them to your body, leave them alone. Number three, be prepared to deal with the eventuality that good guys can and do bleed. All right? And so rock on to this dude. What was his name again, Jared? Tim. Rock on, Tim. You get a tip of the hat from Professor Paul. All right, next story. This is, you want to know how insidious and sick and twisted the liberal mind is? Have I told you that liberalism is a mental disorder? I know that Michael Savage told you, and I basically borrowed that from him, but it is. This story comes to us from Breitbart.com. Claim, No Borders activist gang raped by migrants and then pressured into silence so as not to damage the cause. Whoa, how sick and twisted is this? All right, well, let's go ahead and dive in here. The story is from Liam Deacon, and it was originally published on 6 October. A young female, quote, No Borders activist.
Oh, you can't do that.
What?
You cannot assign...
Oh, a gender to her?
Yes, you cannot.
Well, I didn't do it. Breitbart News did. A young female No Borders activist working in a migrant camp on the French-Italy border remained. All right, and there we go.
Remained silent about her gang rape by Sudanese migrants for over a month because the others asked me to keep quiet. Quote.
Yeah, I was reading the story, and then, because Breitbart does that,
Pop-up.
A picture, and it wasn't a pop-up ad, it was a pop-up for another story on Breitbart.com. Popped up and went over, and it's about the migrant crisis. Colleagues are alleged to have said that reporting the crime would, quote, set back the struggle for a borderless world. The No Borders activist had dedicated a month of her life to helping migrants. Her group was stationed between Italy and France in Ponte San Ludovico in Ventimiglia when the atrocity occurred. According to the reports in local papers, La Stampa and Il Sole now reported the major Italian it is now being reported in a major Italian national Corriere della Sera. On Saturday night, as loud music played at a nearby party, the woman was reportedly trapped in a shower block set up near the camp in a pine forest. A gang of African migrants allegedly raped her there, and her cries for help were said to have gone unheard because of the music. La Stampa reports that the woman, around 30 years of age, would have reported the horrific crime were it not for her fellow left-wing activists who convinced her that if the truth got out, it could, quote, damage their utopian dream of a world without borders. So apparently, if in the minds of a psychotic leftist, in the minds of a liberal, and how many times have we told you this before? Liberalism is a mental disease, and it's like a religion to them. Everything must be sacrificed on the altar of the state, on the state altar of liberalism. Even sometimes your body. How sick and twisted is that? But what's sad is, do you have a hard time believing it, or are you kind of like, yeah, I can believe it, because did it say anywhere in the story, Jared, the death cult preference of these migrants?
I'm not seeing it,
because we know that the followers of the death cult of Islam are really down to gang rape. That's like one of their things.
Well, yeah, but she's not a goat, so.
Well, yeah, but they're doing it in India. That's what you're not supposed to know is that the followers of the religion of peace and brotherhood been gang raping Indian women like it's going out of style. That's why they have to have like these weird vagina traps and stuff like that in India.
His name is Osman.
You're not supposed to know that.
Osman Suleiman, so I don't know.
Who's that?
This says yesterday this dude appeared in a Sudanese asylum seeker who had been in the UK for just 5 months appeared in court. The story's confusing.
Sudan. A lot of good stuff comes out of Sudan. All right. All right. Have we? Well, let's leave that. We'll leave that little nugget of liberal psychotic psychosis there. Just keep that in mind. Are these the same people that tell us that we should just open up our borders and allow these people to just flow into our country? How many of you guys have wives and daughters, sisters out there? So you want to just go ahead and open up the American borders and just let these creatures flow in to your country? You do? That's great. Great plan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget about our friends at Brownells. And while you're at Brownells, you can buy Frog Lube. You can buy Duracoat, Can Technology. Check out their new products category. And also our buddies at Velocity Triggers, designed for precision. Now, the main story today, the main topic is it's sad. It's kind of a bit depressing, but we need to talk about it. We can't ignore this. Even though it makes us feel bad, we have to deal with this situation. It's like the FAA when there's a plane crash. You've got to examine what happened, and you have to say, all right, how can we stop this from ever happening again? That is why the FAA investigates all plane crashes in America to determine whether or not there was a way to prevent what happened or if it was inevitable. This the story's been sourced all over the place, and our source for this is the Communist News Network. Deputy killed in Minnesota after hospitalized suspect grabs his gun. CNN. A deputy was shot in a Minnesota hospital Sunday after the suspect he was guarding grabbed his gun and opened fire. Aitkin County Sheriff's investigator Stephen Sandberg, 60, died during the altercation at St. Cloud Hospital in St. Cloud, Minnesota, state officials said in a statement. The man was guarding a 50-year-old Danny Hammond who had received medical care after being arrested for a domestic dispute. Around 5:15 a.m. Sunday, the suspect gained control of Sandberg's gun and shot him, said the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Hammond also died at the hospital after a security guard used a taser to subdue him. Good thing he had that taser. Officials said the suspect experienced a, quote, medical emergency after he was tasered, and he then expired. So we got, that's the only, I guess, upside of this is that the piece of human filth who murdered this deputy is now worm food as well. After the deadly shooting, a solemn convoy of police vehicles escorted his body to a medical examiner's office where investigators conducted an autopsy. Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton expressed condolences to the Sandberg family in a statement and called his death a terrible, senseless murder. This tragedy reminds us that Minnesota law enforcement officers risk their lives every day to keep us safe, he said. Well, I don't think that he's down with the whole Washington, D.C. program that everyone who is a local police officer is a racist and must be investigated by the DOJ. I think he forgot that part. But let's talk about that for a second. How many of you guys out there, how many of you guys and gals carry guns? You do? And you do? All right. I've referenced this previously, but when I went through the police academy, we were advised by our instructors that when you are assigned to a call, often the dispatcher will tell you that there's something going on. And then, I don't know if they do this anymore, but they would say, oh, there are no weapons on the scene. Or they would say, because they ask, they're like, they ask them, are there any guns or weapons there? And the person on the other end of the phone says, no, there's not. Oh, okay, good. I'll tell the officer that there's no weapons on the scene. First of all, that's kind of silly ridiculous because you're just taking the word of the person who's in a panic situation on the phone. Did they search the premises? Are they sure? We were advised, we were told, look, disregard that nonsense. You need to understand that every crime scene, every active scene that you arrive on, that there's going to be a gun there. And they said, at very least, you know this, there's going to be a gun there because you're bringing it with you. You're going to bring a gun to the scene. So you need to treat every scene as if it is a scene that contains a firearm, that includes a gun. And when I was in the academy, we went through defensive tactics training. We were taught how to protect our gun in the holster, how to fight against a disarming attack. We were shown all the different... If you guys are real hip students of the gun, if you've ever been involved in law enforcement or professional security, prison security, what have you, you'll know that there are several videos out there of surveillance photo of prisoners in prison, in their yard, in their exercise areas, practicing disarming police officers. They teach each other. It's like criminal college. They go in there and they teach each other how to disarm police officers. They practice. And when new holsters come out, when the Safariland SS3 holster came out, it was supposed to be able to defeat any disarming attempt. Well, and it does because it's new initially, but then once the criminals discover it, they figure out how it works. So one of the things that we basically were advised when I went through the training was, look, don't rely on the holster in and of itself to keep you from being disarmed. Because any holster that you can draw a gun out of can be defeated. They'll figure it out somehow. That was a big thing in the 90s, was coming up with security holsters. Every company in the United States of America came up with their own version of a security holster. And today, we have several good holsters. When I was in the academy and when I became a cop, essentially you had a leather holster, a stitched leather holster of some design. That's what was available. And today, actually, most cops aren't using stitched leather holsters. Most cops are using polymer holsters. And one of the things that the bad guys were taught to do with stitched leather holsters was they were taught to just put both hands on the butt of the gun and pull down and out away from the officer to try and basically just break the holster, to try and, break the holster in some form or fashion to pull the gun out. And a polymer holster like the ones from Blackhawk today are pretty serious pieces of gear. I think that you could probably hang upside down from your holster without it breaking. My point is this, and there's a lot to talk about here, but if you're carrying a gun, you need to consider the fact, you need to keep in mind that everywhere you go to, grocery store, movie theater, church, school, what I know, you can't go to school. Okay, whatever. Wherever you happen to be on planet Earth with a gun on your body, that is a scene, that is an area that contains a firearm, and you need to keep that in mind. You need to understand that a bad guy doesn't think, man, if I had my gun, I would shoot this guy. If I had my gun, I would do blah, blah, blah. That's not how bad people think. A bad person thinks, if I had a gun, I would kill this guy. I would shoot this person. If I had a gun, they don't care where the gun comes from. You, me, us, the gun culture people, we get all wrapped around the axle about what our favorite gun is. Well, my favorite gun is a Kimber CTC 2900 model XYZ with Hydra-Shocks. That's my favorite gun. And if I had my gun, I could do better.
My favorite gun is?
I do want to know.
The one that I have in my hand when I need it.
What are you, a Taurus commercial?
Is that what they say?
That's what he said.
Oh.
They said that the best gun to have is, what's the best gun? The one you have on you. Well, that is true. And you, as a gun culture person, you took a lot of time to decide which gun to carry. You read articles and you researched and you bought what you thought was going to be the best thing, and you put a lot of your ego. Men do this all the time. You wrap your ego up in your choice of gun. A criminal, a bad person, they don't care. They just want something that's going to go bang. They want something, a tool that they can use to hurt you with. And if it happens to be the gun that's on your side, well, then so be it. So as you're concealed carrying or open carrying or whatever kind of carrying you're doing, you need to understand that a bad person doesn't think, that dude's carrying a SIG. I don't like SIGs. I wish he had a Beretta. Or that guy's carrying a Beretta. I wish he had a 1911. I like the 1911, but I won't knock him over the head and take that Beretta off him because I don't like those. No, they don't care. They really don't. They just want it. And you need to understand that it's your responsibility to keep a hold of that thing. Also, you might be thinking, what are you going to do if you lose it? If you lose your gun, what are you going to do? I don't know. How many folks out there have decided, whether it was a conscious commitment or an unconscious commitment, that because they now have a concealed carry permit and carry a gun, that the gun solves all their self-defense problems? Well, I have a gun. People say, I've been encountering this for at least 30 years or more. I've been involved at some point in form or fashion in the martial arts for 30 plus years. And you talk to gun people, about martial arts, and they're like, my martial art, and they mimic holding a pistol in their hand. My martial art is ching ching. Really?
It's Ching Pao.
Yeah, your martial art or whatever. Or I've actually had people say, "Why do I need pepper spray? I have a gun." Well, I don't even know how to argue with that logic.
You're an idiot, and I am done talking.
I'm just going to go ahead and back away from you slowly.
You can tell the type of person, though, by the way they're talking to you.
No,
maybe
the person who
actually...
said that to me, "Why do I need that? I have a gun," was a cop.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it was a police officer in a department that I was a member of. He had cuffs, and he had a radio, and he had a pistol, and he had spare ammo.
Did he have a baton?
I don't think he had a baton. Well, he had one in the car. He had a PR-24 in the cruiser.
That's going to do him a lot of good when he needs it.
So he's walking around. But, yeah, because that was when I was a pepper spray instructor for law enforcement. This has been 20 years. But, yeah, he's like, I don't know why you think I need that. I have a gun. Well, all right, then. I guess I didn't know that we could just shoot every single person that annoyed us. Every person you encounter, apparently, you can shoot.
Well, when you pull the gun out, it'll scare them.
Oh, there.
That's not deadly force.
There you go. But, well, you say, well, what am I supposed to do, Paul? Well, what you're supposed to do is be aware of the fact that it is up to you. It is your responsibility to keep a hold of that gat, to keep a hold of that gun, to keep it from falling into bad people's hands. And how do you do that? You say, oh, I don't know how to do that. I have a gun. All right. What do you do when you're fighting for the gun? What do you know what to do? Because let me tell you what, brothers and sisters, in the 3 seconds that you have to stop yourself from being disarmed, that is not enough time to make up a plan. We run into these people. I don't have any training, but I'll know what to do.
Actually, you won't.
No, you won't.
It was funny the other day. Alex and I were out I think we went to Target, and we were getting coffee. And I walked up in the line, and I just instinctively put my back to an object so nobody could walk up behind me. Mm-hmm. And she started laughing, and she looked at me. I was like, what are you laughing at? She's like, it's funny how we've been together for 2 years now, I guess.
It's your story. Tell like
at least 2 years. Seems like longer.
Keep going.
Anyway, so she's like, oh, it's funny the things that I notice now that I didn't notice before. And she's like, well, I'm like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? She's like, you just put your back to the little display there. I was like, yeah. Oh, I didn't realize I did that.
Yeah. Well, like for instance, like when you're in the line to check out of the grocery store or Walmart or something, if you're carrying, rather than let someone just stand directly behind you, I always turn 90 degrees so that the display rack is to my back.
Yeah.
Just because you can protect your gun by what I do. I put my hand, because I have long arms. I put my hand in my right pocket and I lay my elbow back against my gun. And I can feel the gun, and my elbow is over the top of it. If I'm just standing there, so nobody can get directly to it. My point is this, ladies and gentlemen. If you be honest with yourself right now at this very moment in time, if you were out concealed carrying, open carrying, whatever kind of carrying you're doing, and someone would attempt to disarm you, what is your plan to stop that from happening? If your plan is, well, I have a gun so they won't try, no, that's not a plan. It's available. The training is available. You can get it or you can not get it, but it's your responsibility to secure your gun. And saying that, thinking, well, it probably won't happen. Guns don't provide a magic cone of protection around you. And bad people don't think, well, if I had my Kimber Crimson Carry Elite, then I would shoot this guy. No, bad guys think, if I can get my hand on a gun, I'm going to hurt people. So it's your responsibility to protect your gun. Prepare yourself today before you need it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, clock on the wall says it's time for me to close my mouth. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. All right. Enjoy your Wednesday, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.